Hi, I'm Karen, also known as the Preacher Lady. Today, our topic is All Hallows Eve, the origins of Halloween. In the first few centuries of the church, many Christians, or saints, were killed for their faith. And the church often took time to say prayers of thanksgiving for the saints that went before them. As early as 270 AD, there are records of holding all night prayer vigils in memories of those who died in the faith. November 1st was set as the official All Saints' Day under the Emperor Charlemagne in the 800s. Yes, they did place that date to coincide with the Celtic pagan festival known as Samhain. The Celtic people believed that the night of October 31st through the evening of November 1st, the boundaries between the worlds was thinner, and spirits from the other world could walk in ours. The church often set its early holidays to coincide with pagan celebrations so that the new Christian converts would not miss their old traditions. In this case, they equated the thought of the traveling spirits from another world with remembering the dead who had passed on before. Now, many people I know are critical about how the early church set our celebrations to coincide with pagan festivals in the area where the church was spreading. This doesn't bother me. Think of it like this. You are an avid Star Trek fan, and you meet someone who is really into anime. You want to share the joy of being a Trekker with them. They say, well, that's all well and good, but I love my anime conventions, and we have binge watching parties and anime chat rooms. Is it wrong then for you to say, hey, we have conventions, and we have watch parties, and we have chat rooms too? Why don't you join me for the next one and check it out? That was basically what the early church was doing. Oh, you have a big party in the spring celebrating the world coming back to life. So do we. It's called Easter, and it celebrates God raising Jesus from the dead. In the middle of winter, when the days finally start getting longer again, you celebrate the hope that spring and longer days will eventually return. We celebrate the hope that came when Jesus was born. And in the fall, when you celebrate spirits walking about in our world, we remember those who have died and gone to heaven. Maybe the church was just being practical. Maybe it was trying to make converting less traumatic. But I don't think that it invalidates the things that we are celebrating just because we chose a day where other people were celebrating as well. Okay, so back to the early All Saints celebration. As time went on, and Christianity was no longer illegal, there were fewer and fewer martyrs. Thus, today, All Saints' Day, or All Saints' Sunday, which is the closest Sunday to November 1st, we remember all our Christian brothers and sisters who have gone to join the Lord in the church triumphant in the past year. In other words, we remember those Christians who've died this past year. And in those church services, we often say prayers of thanksgiving for those who went before us and for those who meant a lot in our own journeys of faith. All Christians are considered saints. Being a saint has nothing to do with how good you are. Now, Halloween is just the common name for All Hallows Eve, the day before All Hallows Day, or All Saints' Day. The traditions we celebrate are actually medieval superstitions relating to saying the names of the dead. Some of them probably do bleed over from baptizing Samhain into All Saints' Day for our Celtic forefathers and foremothers. In the Middle Ages, people superstitiously believed that the evil spirits would get agitated if they knew that all the good souls who had died were going to get prayed for, and they were not. So people would dress up as evil spirits to fool the restless spirits that were roaming about and feeling jealous about the holiday on the day to come. That's where the tradition of dressing up as ghosts and witches and goblins came from. Now, the church has always asserted the dead cannot harm you. When you die, your soul will go immediately to heaven or hell. They don't lurk around to bother the living. But it can be very hard to convince superstitious people to give up their beliefs. Now, today, there are some churches that feel like dressing up as evil spirits lead to evil acts. Many of them may not know the origin of wearing costumes was to actually protect you against evil. But today, I think the only evil temptations are to eat too much candy, or if you're feeling really naughty, TPing your neighbor's trees, smashing pumpkins, or egging houses and cars. Now, my problem with those is that damaging property is not the way to show love to your neighbor. And love your neighbor is our second greatest commandment, right behind loving God. So, doing things that hurt your neighbor are sinful. The Presbyterian Church, as well as many other denominations, find no harm in trick-or-treating or dressing up for Halloween. We just want people to remember that it's all in fun. It's a good chance to get to know your neighbors. In our neighborhood this year, our HOA is throwing a pre-trick-or-treat pizza party for the whole neighborhood, whether you have kids or not, so that we can all get to know each other better. I would encourage all of you that as you enjoy Halloween, take a moment out of your November 1st sugar rush to say a prayer of thanksgiving for all the people in your life who have made a difference in your faith journey, especially those who have passed away in the past year and are now with their Lord. And have a happy and safe Halloween.